Welcome to the Nerdstalgic podcast with your host, the Ginger Bookworm. Nerdstalgic with the Ginger Bookworm. Nerdstalgic with the Ginger Bookworm.
Howdy folks, and welcome back to another exciting episode of the Nerdstalgic podcast with your host, me, Luke, the human. Hope you're doing well, hope you're all good, as per usual. Don't forget to follow me on Twitter at nerdstalgic_pod. Also, you can follow me on YouTube at the Nerdstalgic podcast. Don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, and all that jazz. So, today is another pre-recorded episode, all the way back in June the 3rd. That's where I am now, but you're currently listening to this all the way over, I think, June the 11th or June the 12th. Whenever the Ubisoft showcase is, that's when you're hearing this now. This one I don't have to rush so much because it's going to be the last one. But this Ubisoft Forward showcase is the one that I'm most sort of unsure about. Mainly because, and as I will mention, some of the games that were launched last year, Ubisoft really needs a win. You know, I love Ubisoft. You know, I love their games. I've been playing their games for years. You know, since I was little. And you know, I'm a big fan. Sort of slowly getting into sort of Assassin's Creed a lot more now, as well as, you know, I love the sort of other games that they did. But you know, I've you know, Splinter Cell. You know, I love Splinter Cell. I'm hoping they announce another Splinter Cell game. You know what I mean? So I'm a fan of theirs, but from the showcase that they had last year and how not a lot of has actually come to fruition up to now, that have had a lot of delays and a lot of cancellations. I'm not really sure. Apart from Assassin's Creed, I don't really know what they can show apart from maybe Beyond Good and Evil 2. But again, that's been in development hell for years. Apparently, it's still going, but we will see. But last year, they announced Mario and Rabbids Sparks of Hope, which was the sequel. Skull and Bones, which has been sort of not cancelled, it's been delayed and remade and done multiple times. So will that game be shown again? Maybe, possibly. You've got Riders Republic Season 4, Tom Clancy's The Division 2, you had the DLC for that. You had Tom Clancy's Division Heartland, Tom Clancy's The Division Resurgence. I love The Division, I really do. I played The Division 2, I played Division 1, I loved them all. I didn't bother with the DLC because I'll be honest with you, after playing Division 2, I just didn't want to play any more Division. I was divisioned out, shall we say, so I didn't want any more. But they are doing more. They've got the Heartlands game, which I think was announced last year, and I think that game's been delayed again. So we might see it. We might see more about it. You know, we'll see. The Division Resurgence, which I think is a mobile game. They had Rainbow Six Mobile, Trackmania Reboot, Just Dance 2023, Assassin's Creed Mirage, which I think Xbox has announced that they're going to have some gameplay there. I remember I'm recording this back in June the 3rd, so if they did, that's a fantastic sort of, you know, that's one way to predict the future. And if they didn't, I'll be wrong, and they'll hopefully show some more gameplay here at the Ubisoft Forward, which more than likely they will. Assassin's Creed Valhalla, The Last Chapter, which I played, was really, really good. A good ending to Eivor's story and sort of Assassin's Creed Valhalla overall. I really liked Valhalla. I know a lot of people didn't. I know it was very divisive for a lot of people, but I really enjoyed Valhalla. And then you had Assassin's Creed Codename Jade, the Assassin's Creed Netflix series, which again I haven't heard anything of over that since it was announced. Then you had Assassin's Creed Netflix. There's another Assassin's Creed Netflix game, and then there was Assassin's Creed Codename Red, Assassin's Creed Codename Hexi, Assassin's Creed Infinity, Assassin's Creed multiplayer game, and that was about it. They really went hard on Division and Assassin's Creed near the end there. So what are my predictions for Ubisoft? I don't know. Maybe potentially we will see more of Skull and Bones. You know, maybe if we'll show them how they've changed it, how they've refined it, if they've made it a completely new game, or if they're going to if it's going to come out this year or not, we'll see. We might see more of the Division, maybe more of the Division Heartland, maybe even an announcement of a Division 3, potentially. I don't know. I feel like they really missed out with the Division by bringing in mutants or zombies. Not even just zombies, just mutants. You know, they've got this huge virus that's like infecting people. They could have at least done some sort of DLC where it'd be like a virus and you have to go against, kill these mutants or something. I feel like they really missed out a chance there. But again, maybe we'll see a Division 3. More of the Division sort of games, most likely. Maybe another Rainbow Six sort of game. I would love to see sort of another Splinter Cell sort of game, and that'd be fun. Another Tom Clancy game, that'd be interesting. But I don't want to see. I'm kind of. I was never really interested in Rainbow Six. Never really interested in Siege. So maybe another Tom Clancy game that's not sort of a team-based sort of game, or not the Division, or not Splinter Cell. Something new. You know what I mean? Maybe sort of adapt one of the books. I don't know. Hopefully we'll see Beyond Good and Evil 2. Like I said, that's been delayed multiple times, so don't know. Again, we'll probably more than likely we'll see a ton of Assassin's Creed. I have no doubt at all we'll see tons of Assassin's Creed. Maybe we'll get more information about these different Assassin's Creed games like Codename Jade and Codename Red and Hexy. We'll probably see more of them, maybe gameplay or cinematic trailers and that sort of thing, and find out what they are and where they're coming from. So you can kind of tell I'm very sort of on the fence with Ubisoft. I don't know what they will show because again, Assassin's Creed, Assassin's Creed, yeah, but Ubisoft really needs a win. Of all the studios currently, they need the win the most because it just seems how a lot of their games that are in development, apart from Assassin's Creed, a lot of their projects are in development hell, and they can't keep delaying games. They can't keep pushing games back because they need the money. Like I would happily have a delayed game and then hopefully the game be good, but those internally and the business partners, and obviously they're a company at the end of the day, they need to make money. So them not being able to release sort of games per sort of quarterly sort of season, for the beginning of like January up until almost the beginning of summer. Then you've got the summer section, then you've got the winter, the end of the year sort of section. If they don't have games to release in these sort of quadrants, because they keep delaying them, they're not going to get their money. That means that money for production of current games in production and games they want to do in the future either isn't there, and that could lead to a bad game or could lead to a great game not being made. You know what I mean? So they need a win. So I'm on the fence. I don't know what they will show. I have a feeling it'll be tons of Assassin's Creed, but again, apart from that, I don't know. So I have my fingers crossed. I am excited to see what they will show. But again, hindsight is a beautiful thing. I don't currently have it because I'm in the past. But I'm sure, again, I'll watch it, I'll enjoy it, and you beans are going to find out very shortly, in a minute, my thoughts and feelings, what was shown. But I wanted to take a bit longer to explain this introduction than I did for the other two, mainly because I'm just so unsure about Ubisoft. I really am at this point. But I feel like they can pull it back. I feel like they're old enough and been around long enough that they can pull it back and survive. Just how and when is a different situation. So my fingers are crossed. Let's get into it, shall we? Let's see what Ubisoft has to show us. So here we are at the Ubisoft Forward event, the final showcase for June. As far as I know, nothing else has come up. I know Xbox have got their games showcase extension on June the 12th, which is tomorrow, which is basically everything that they've spoke about in their showcase. They're going to do an extended talk more in detail about certain things they showed off, as well as what other studios are working on here and there. So I'll look into it and I'll watch it. I won't really do an episode on it, but I'll look into it for my own personal thing. I just want to let you beans know that that's going on. Overall, the Ubisoft Forward event, I loved it. I did. I was smiling majority of the way through, mainly because, and I want to state, thank you to Ubisoft for keeping the weird, for keeping the funk, for keeping the strangeness of gaming conventions. Because one thing that I miss about E3, and one thing that I miss a lot about older the E3s, was the fact of gaming events, gaming showcases used to be odd. There was a lot of wacky and strange things would happen. You'd get people who aren't very comfortable being on stage, and you could tell there wasn't a lot of planning sometimes in how somebody was to say things or things would happen and blah blah blah. And it would just be weird, it'd be jank, but that's was made it fun, made it interesting. That made it a bit more unique. So I want to say thank you for Ubisoft for always keeping the weirdness, keeping the strange going. And I'll get on to why they were strange as we get on to it, especially with the first thing they decided to show was incredibly strange, but also incredibly Ubisoft as well. But from the three showcases I've watched now, from the Jeff Keighley's one to start, with Xbox's as well as the sort of Starfield Direct, and now this one, this is how I would sort of rank them. So Jeff Keighley's was interesting. That was probably the most I've said the word interesting ever in any episode I've ever done. But it was. Everything about it was interesting. I might not have been interested in everything, but overall it was overall interesting. You know, I might not want to play it day one, but I was interested, and that's the main key there, right? The Xbox One, the fanboy in me loved it because I was getting bits of things that I loved. I was getting a bit of Forza, I was getting a bit of Fable. You know, there might have been a few things that I would hope for but didn't get. And again, if you want to hear my full views on that, listen to my Xbox Showcase episode. But overall, I liked it for what it was in terms of the Xbox fan. I got little bits of what I liked. This was just fun. It was weird. It was strange. It was completely European. It was completely Ubisoft. It was wonderful. You know, I don't know. I'm on the fence if to say if it's my favorite showcase of the year. Um, well, shall we say my favorite showcase of the summer so far. And I feel like that would be a fair assessment for me personally. Other people might agree, disagree. I loved it. I really, really did. And again, even though there'd be a lot of things in this that I don't 100% fully jive with, like the first thing that I'm going to talk about in a minute. Overall, I had fun. I had a smile on my face, and that's the point. You know, it was weird, it was wonderful, it was strange, it was Ubisoft, it was fun. They knew what they were getting into, they knew what they were doing, and they just had fun. And that's what they made. They didn't make it a big professional, sleek, stylish thing. They just went, you know what, we've got some games, let's just have fun, and that's what they did. And yeah, it was just fun. So cracking on, beginning with, so the first thing that they showed, I thought I made a mistake. I thought I clicked on the wrong video when I first started watching it live, because instead of like showing like Ubisoft Forward or anything like that, it was like Just Dance, and it was just the people dancing to Just Dance. But in the corner it said official Olympics esports, and apparently Just Dance is an Olympic esport now, and there's a competition, and currently it's going on. I had no idea that this was a thing. I had no idea it was currently going on. I've never heard anybody talk about it. But yeah, and then they announced Just Dance 2024 edition coming this October. I'm not really into Just Dance. I played a little bit on the Kinect for the 360, but that was about it really. That's as far as I got. But I'm guessing there's people out there who like it, and people must be buying it because Ubisoft are still making games for it almost periodically every year. So, you know, it's got a fan base somewhere. Anyway, moving on quickly, swiftly. One thing I want to add here, one thing that you might notice in this showcase compared to the other two showcases that I did, there is a lot more notes and a lot more detailing things I have to say for most of, if not all of the things here, mainly because unlike sort of Jeff Keighley's show or Xbox, the way Ubisoft likes to structure a lot of their events, they like to structure them where you will see sort of either cinematic or sort of gameplay. Then they will bring somebody out, either the lead narrative designer, the director, or somebody along those lines will come out and they will give more details into what you just saw. And then usually it'll be, do you want to see some more gameplay? And then they'll show you more in-depth gameplay. So you might get a cinematic, a bit of explanation, and gameplay. I like that Ubisoft does this because, again, with Jeff Keighley and Xbox, and even with PlayStation, to be honest, it is very much the fact of, here's the new game, it's coming soon. Maybe we might show you a bit of gameplay, we might not, but it's nice to see it, to be, wow, that looks interesting, to have the director or lead narrative designer or somebody like that to come out being like, this is the world, and explain a bit more into it and then show you the game. I like that. I like how Ubisoft does that. You know, for me, it gives me a lot of what I'm interested, which is the finer details. It's all well and good showing me that it looks awesome. Tell me more about it. You know, why should I be interested? You know, think of, because again, I am a gamer, but I'm also a client. I'm a buyer at the end of the day, and they're trying to sell me a product. So it's all well and good showing me, but tell me more about it. Get me invested. And Ubisoft do a really good job of investing you into their games. Even if you might not be interested in the game, it gets you excited for what the game is meant to be. And that's again why I love Ubisoft whenever they do their forward events. They might not do great in their games, and all their games might not sort of win, but they know how to do an event. I have to give them that. That's the European side of them. There, the French know how to throw a party. So anyway, moving on swiftly on. So the next game that they showed was the Avatar Frontiers of Pandora. We got to see a cinematic gameplay trailer as well as some in-game footage. This game is coming out December the 7th, 2023, so this year. I was quite excited for this one. I really was. I was sort of on the edge of my seat. Like, this is how you do it. Like, yes, Just Dance was a bit odd, but again, that's Ubisoft. This is how you do it. This is how you begin your presentation. You really get me in. You pull me in. You know, and I felt like Al Pacino in Godfather 2. It's like, just when I think I'm out, they pull me back in. That was my terrible impression of Al Pacino, but it did. They pulled me in. They sucked me in, and then they almost lost me. Because halfway through the gameplay, it looks incredible, looks beautiful. They're using the Snowdrop engine, and the Snowdrop engine is heavily underutilized by Ubisoft. It seems only now they're properly using it to its fullest, because at one stage, that engine was just being used for Division. Granted, Division's not bad, it's a pretty beautiful game, but they needed to branch out and use it for a lot more things, and they're finally using the Snowdrop engine to its fullest, and it looks absolutely gorgeous here. So I'm happy to see that. But what pulled me out of it was they started doing. You play as a Navi, and you kind of have to free Pandora from sort of the I can't what the enemies, the humans. I can't remember the name of the organization. I haven't seen Shape of Water yet, and I haven't seen Avatar 1 in a very, very long time. Let's just call them the humans, right? So you've got to stop the humans from taking back Pandora. So the way they made it seem was that you go from outpost to outpost to outpost, stopping the humans, and that feels incredibly Far Cry-ish to me. And that's what they started to pull me back. And there were other things to do with Far Cry where you were crafting things and you were taking out outposts and you sneaking around outposts and taking enemies out. Kind of felt like Far Cry Primal, which again is a fantastic underrated Far Cry game. But it felt like Far Cry Primal. They're taking out alarms, making sure they can't be heard so that no alarms can be raised. That's what kind of worried me. The fact of you had me with this sort of Pandora, Avatar sort of game, which again, I loved the movie. You had me, at meat hooks, and then you showed me that version of the gameplay, and that had me worried. I'm still interested in wanting to play it when it comes out in December, but I am worried that, they've put a sort of Avatar film over a Far Cry game. And that is the worry. Because, again, I'll be honest with you, the last good Far Cry game that I played and actually fully enjoyed from start to finish was Far Cry 5. And the actual last one that had the most fun was Far Cry 3. Maybe a bit of Far Cry 4, but since Far Cry 3, it's been an up and down slope, and I played Far Cry 6 and it was abysmal. I hated myself for playing it, but I ended up just doing it because I had nothing else to play. And I was going to review it for the show, but I had so much of a bad time with it, I was just like, it's not worth it, because I have nothing really positive to say about this game at all. My dad loves it, but I'm done with Far Cry, so this worries me. So I hope when this game comes out and reviewers get their hands on it, and hopefully when I get my hands on it, that what I saw was wrong, and that I misinterpreted it wrong, and that it's different, and that it's not Far Cry with this sort of film of Avatar on top. So my fingers and toes and eyes and legs and everything really, intestines are all crossed. So fingers crossed that it's good. Otherwise, I'm worried. So that comes out in December 7th this year. Next game was X Defiant. We got to see some in-game footage of this, as well as they announced an open beta June the 21st and the 23rd. Then the game's going to launch later this summer. This looks like an arena shooter. I wouldn't say. I'm not sure about a battle royale. Kind of in the vein of a sort of like a Tom Clancy sort of arena shooter in the vein of Overwatch. It didn't really take me, it didn't strike me. Again, I'm not really interested in these sort of games. They showed off the battle pass, and I was like, meh. But again, this is sort of the style nowadays. This is what gamers and developers are making because it's what's popular. You know, there's a reason why a lot of games in the early 2000s, sort of the middle to late 2000s and early 2010s, why all games had a multiplayer, even though it didn't always need a multiplayer, they just had one because of games like Call of Duty. Every um, publisher wanted a new multiplayer game experience to take on Call of Duty. None of them really did. Most of them were generic. Only a few of them were overly unique and different and interesting. It's just sadly those games never lasted that long. But even so, this is the new style now. That was the style then. The new style now is arena shooters, battle royales, the lot. I can't wait till the next generation comes in of the next big thing, and hopefully it's better than what we have now. But again, for X Defiant, it looked interesting, but it's not my cup of tea. But anybody who's interested, you know, the open beta is later this June, on the 21st of June to the 23rd of June, and it's coming later this summer. So if that's something you're interested in, it's coming soon. Then we got a bit more look into Prince of Persia: The Lost Crown. That's coming January the 18th, 2024. I think that was already announced at Jeff Keighley show. I'm not sure, but if not, now we know the date. It's close to my birthday, so that'll be an interesting one. The thing is, this game, how can I explain it? I was a bit let down, and I'll explain why. So you play as Saga, another one. Alan Wake, watch out. That's a joke, by the way. Alan Wake would destroy this game, I'm sure. Um, but that was me attempt to trying to be funny. We got more details about it, and we got some new gameplay. You don't play as the prince. You play as a bloke called Saga. He is part of an elite warrior group called the Immortals, and the princess has been captured, and they have to go rescue her. And within rescuing her, they find out that where the queen has been taken is somewhere very dark and very sort of mysterious. And then this revolves around you having your time travel powers, the Sands of Time sort of powers that you had in the original series. I was a bit let down. Like, I'm excited. I still want to play it. And don't be wrong, you know, I'm looking forward to the Sands of Time reboot that's coming. Hopefully, maybe next year or this year, depends on when they decide when they're ready to let it out. And I'll play this one as well because again, I love Prince of Persia, but we don't get to play as a prince, and I feel like that's the whole point. It's called Prince of Persia. I want to play as the prince. It's kind of the point, you know. That's a bit of a bummer, but the new character looks somewhat interesting. Again, I won't be able to really sort of tell the feel for the character and the feel for the story until I actually play it. So I haven't. I'm trying to hold back and not be so judgmental, just because I'm a fan of the old Prince of Persia, and a few things confuse me, i.e., no prince. I'm gonna sort of go instead. I'm gonna go in it with a class empty and just try to enjoy it for what it is. But the new gameplay looked interesting. You know, it looked unique. But I would like to go back to the way the sort of early 2000s Prince of Persia games were, where you had a bit of 2D side scrolling, but it was also 3D. Yeah, the platform and stuff like that. I'd like to go that route again. So instead of the 2D, let's go into the 3D and do the platforming. That's where I would like to go next with the Prince of Persia series. But Ubisoft want to go somewhere else, which is fine. They want to go back to their roots. I completely understand. I respect that. But again, we'll see whatever the game is whenever it comes out. Right? Oh, sorry about that. Quick water break. Then we had Captain Laserhawk, a Blood Dragon remix. I got really excited when this game was shown, and then immediately deflated because I like Blood Dragon. I've been waiting for Blood Dragon 2 for a long time. It's one of the best sort of expansions Ubisoft has ever made for any of their games. It's the best expansion for any Far Cry game, and I don't know why, considering how much people love it and how great it was, that they haven't either done a standalone Blood Dragon game, or even they haven't decided to do a Blood Dragon 2 for like any of the Far Cry games since Far Cry 3. For some reason they haven't. But I got really excited because it was like, oh, Captain Laserhawk, a Blood Dragon remix. Is this going to be a new game? No, it's an anime. And again, I've if you listen to the show long enough, you know that I'm not really big into anime. I have tried in the past. It's not for me, but I have tried. But again, this doesn't look like my cup of tea. This looks like it's in the vein of the cyberpunk animated show Night. I think it was Night Runner. I still haven't watched that either. On Netflix. This one is also coming to Netflix, coming later this year. We got to see a teaser trailer. Again, it looks dark. It looks like a black comedy. It looks gory, brutal, silly, very high octane, 90s sort of noir sort of thing. But yeah, it's anime, so you lost me, which is a shame. And so I hoped and wish that they would do something else with the Blood Dragon series. Maybe if this is popular and it's successful on Netflix, potentially people at Ubisoft will go, "Wow, wow, Blood Dragon remix is doing quite well. Let's make it into a game, or let's revitalize the Blood Dragon. Let's make a new standalone game." I don't know. The hope is there. My fingers are crossed. So there's that. Then we got to see a bit more Division Resurgence. We got a cinematic trailer for that. It's coming fall 2023, and it's a mobile game. So you had my excitement, and then you lost me again. Again, I said this on the other showcase, and I've said this many times on other episodes. I don't play games on my phone. My phone is not a console. My phone is a tool. It's something that I use. I'm 25, but I sound like an old man now. But it is. It's a tool. I don't want to play games on it. You know, yes, it's got a good battery on it, but that doesn't mean that I want to spend my hours and hours and hours playing on it. If you're going, this game and another game that's meant to be for mobile phones looks like it should be on a handheld console. You know, I miss, again, I'm going on a bit of a tangent here, I do apologise, but I miss the PSP Vita. To me, the Vita was doing something that no handheld was doing, and the Vita was incredible, but PlayStation just didn't stick with it, and eventually they just shelved and killed it. Um, but this game looks like it would have done well on something like the Vita, or even on the Switch, or something like that. Like, I don't mind playing a handheld console because that's what it's made for. It's a console to on the go, or on the Steam Deck, or something like that. That's fine. But I don't want to be playing a game like Division on a small screen on my phone. It's not for me. If I'm on public transport, I'm going to be reading a book. If I'm in the car, I'm listening to music or an audiobook. If I'm out and about walking, I'm listening to music. I'm not, I'm taking in my surroundings. I'm taking in the world around me. I don't want to have to sit here and stare at a screen for hours just to play a game. It's not for me. So some people out there might be interested in this. If you're a hardcore Division fan, and yeah, mobile gaming, but it's not for me. But again, it's coming 2024, so it might interest somebody. I mean, 2023, coming fall of 2023. I mean, again, blah. Anyway, then we got more of Ubisoft weirdness. We got we got Bones, and again, I was very, very excited because again, we got to see something about Skull and Bones, hoping for a release date or them adding things or taking things out, or them just admitting like we listened to your feedback, we effed up, we changed a few things, blah 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 blah. No. Ubisoft was back with their weirdness, and they had a band play a sea shanty to start. And I thought, okay, it's weird. They had a sea shanty. Okay, Skull and Bones. It's a pirate game. I understand. I get it. Funny. Ha ha ha. Anyway, so that ended, and I was thinking, okay, now we're gonna get some details. No, just that the game's got a closed beta on August the 25th till the 28th of August this year, and that's about it. So no real new information, just a weird sea shanty, which was done really, really well, but again, very odd. And then just a better announcement. Not even added detail of like what the game is going, if when the game's coming out, if they've made any changes, or just admitting that they took the feedback. Because a lot of people are peed off about this game because I love the idea of Skull and Bones because I want a game that's like Black Flag mixed in with Sea of Thieves, mixed in with Pirates of the Caribbean, realistic ship to ship combat. I want to pillage. I want to go on crusades. I want to be a pirate. I want to explore. I want to adventure. I want to be on the seven seas. And I know Sea of Thieves does that, but I want it in a more realistic fashion, like the sort of Black Assassin's Creed Black Flag. And that's what this game I was hoping to be. But when we last saw it last year, I think it was last year, The game just didn't look that great. Like you don't even go onto islands. Like you don't even lay siege to islands. You send your crew out to lay siege to islands where you just stand on the ship and watch. Like what kind of captain does that? Being like, oh man, you go off, you fight it, you collect the booty. I'm just gonna stand here and feed my parrot and just look at the sea. Um, like no, I don't. I want to get involved. I want to get off the ship. I want to lead the charge, lead the rampage, like it was in Black Flag. You know, you take down a fort, you uh, board. I mean, where you can have a board a ship, or even you land at the dock, and then you fight your way through up through the fort, taking out the colonels and admirals. Then finally, you get to the head honcho bloke. You kill him, then the fort's yours. You know, that's what I want to do. I don't want to watch my crewmates do it. It's boring. You know, I want to see Monster throw a kraken at me. You know what I mean? Throw Poseidon. You know, throw huge killer waves that if I don't, you know, run away from or properly brace for, it rips my ship apart. Make it explorative. You know, you've got a game about being a pirate. Make it piratey. Don't just give me the look of pirates and then you just have me sit on the ship and do nothing and sail about. That's what it felt like when I watched it last year. And I know I'm going a bit of a rant here. I do apologise. It's just that I just hoped we'd see more of Skull and Bones here, but we got a sea shanty, and there's a closed beta soon. So sign up if you're interested. I most likely won't because I would rather wait for this game to come out and listen to reviews, and then make my opinion and decision, and then maybe get it if it's on cheap if the reviews are somewhat decent. So we'll see. Then there were loads of mini updates. There were so many, like they were just thrown at you like candy. Like here's one, here's one, here's one, here's one. So I didn't manage to get all of them. So for the one, I just wrote down the ones that interested me. So first of all, we got Master Chief is now coming to Brawlhalla. Never played it. It's very much in the vein of what's that game called now? What's it called now? It's on Nintendo. Super Smash Bros. I don't know why I was freezing there. It looks like I've never played it, but it's like Super Smash Bros. Just with random weird characters from different sort of genres. So Master Chief's come to Brawlhalla. Then this got me really excited, but also then really disappointed because we have Jet Set Radio is coming to Roller Champions. I was really excited because I love Jet Set Radio, and then I was really disappointed because it was Roller Champions, and I don't play it, and I don't know if it's free to play or not, but I'm not interested. It's really a shame because the models look incredible, look gorgeous. It shows me what a next gen sort of modern Jet Set Radio game could look like and could be, but it's not Jet Set Radio, and that really angst me. So I highlighted it because it was Jet Set Radio, but I'm really annoyed. I think I'm sure I just noted it down just a rant really. I'm moving on, so for a rant even more. Then we had Rayman is coming back into Mario plus Rabbids Sparks of Hope. That'll be their final DLC. I said this a while ago in a couple, probably a couple episodes ago, but I said, where is Rayman? Why haven't we seen Rayman? Ubisoft, you know, Rayman was Ubisoft's poster boy for a long time for Assassin's Creed, and then they shelved him. Where is he? Especially, and like the rabbits, who were just basically a side character, a side sort of entity in one game, they took over him. They became like the minions and just took over. We're finally getting Rayman back, and he's going to be in the final sort of story DLC for Mario and Rabbids Sparks of Hope. Haven't played it, but again, I've heard it's quite good. So that'll be their final DLC there. So those are the mini updates that I managed to sort of see and write down in time before it all just sort of went past in a blur, and I'll miss most of it. Then there was the Crew Motorfest. This game was announced. We got some more details on it, as well as some in-game footage. The game is set in Honolulu, Hawaii. You can import all your cars from the Crew 2 into the new game for free. So if you are a racing fan like me and you've played the Crew 1 and Crew 2, primarily the Crew 2 here, if you played the Crew 2 and you've amassed a huge car collection, for free, you can import all your cars from the Crew 2 into this game for free, which is absolutely fantastic. This game's coming out in September the 14th this year, and I'm over the moon. I played the Crew 1, played the Crew 2. I love the idea of the Crew. This game looks it's taking it more sort of grounded. So in the Crew 1, Crew 2, especially the Crew 2, you could switch vehicles. And in the Crew 2, you could switch from a car to a boat, from a boat to a plane, from a plane to a monster truck, back to a car, or even to a bike if you wanted to. You could constantly on the fly from one part of America to the next part of America. You could change vehicles, you could fly. And there were multiple times where I couldn't be bothered to drive anymore, so I'd be like, I just want to be a plane now, and I'd turn into a plane and I'd just fly off, and it was so seamless. So I love the idea of the Crew, and I love racing games. As you all guys are aware, I gushed over the new Forza Motorsport. I love racing games a lot. This game is in the vein more so of Forza Horizon, where it looks to, again, they didn't say they have, but from the looks of it, they've taken away the planes, they've taken away the boats, they've taken away the bikes, and it is just motorsport. It's sort of Japanese tuner cars to American muscle to GT cars, sort of track cars, e cars, kind of like F1 cars but electric, as well as F1 cars. It looks very much a Crew game in the style of like very Ubisoft, but it also feels like Forza Horizon, and also them being in Hawaii, in Honolulu, is very inspired. Like that's not a place I would thought of to place a game. I've said many times the next Forza Horizon should be in Japan. I thought that place would be gorgeous to do, and I thought that the next Forza Horizon 5 was going to be in Japan. Instead, they set it in Mexico. So to me, it's a bit ingenious for the Crew to be like, "Oh, we're going to be in Honolulu," because I've never been there, but from the photos I've seen and obviously the movies, it looks luscious, and it looks a place where there's tons of different biomes, where you've got sort of the jungles, you've got the beautiful sort of seaside roads right next to you. You've got a beautiful ocean right next to you, as well as you've got the sand dunes to the left of you. You've got marshlands, you've got volcanic islands and lands. There's so much that they can do with this, and so many different biomes to make the game feel very alive and diverse. So I'm hyped, and it comes out this year, so I'm ready for it. Crew, I almost said the Crew too. The Crew Motorfest. I can't wait for it. I'm hyped. I'm excited. Then after that, we got Assassin's Creed Nexus. This is the VR game for the MetaQuest. I don't like Meta. I don't like Facebook. I don't like anything that they do. That I feel like they've taken Oculus and really sort of pounded it into the ground. And that's just not the gamer side of me. That's sort of the person who used to develop and do stuff with Oculus and used to make games in Oculus and all that when I was at uni. I just don't like how Meta does things. And Assassin's Creed being in VR again, I don't have a MetaQuest. I'm not really interested in owning a MetaQuest headset, so it looks like an interesting idea. Put Assassin's Creed into it. You play different assassins. You get to play as Cassandra. You get to play as Ezio Auditore. And there was one more. Who was it now? There was one. Haytham Kenway. You get to play as these three. I'm sure it leaves it open for an expansion, so you could probably play as all the other assassins eventually. But you start off as three, and there's different stories that they're going to be playing with each one of them. So it's an interesting idea and concept. But again, I'm not really big into Meta Quest and VR in terms of what they're doing. But I'm sure it'll come to other things as well. I'm sure it'll come to PlayStation eventually, and it'll come to a Vive and all that. So we'll see. Then you had Assassin's Creed Jade, which looks gorgeous, looks beautiful. Like it's an Assassin's Creed game set in China. Again, it's ingenious. Like I want to explore old sort of time, old China. I want to see how the way that they tell the story and how it links in with the Apples of Eden and stuff like that. Like, where does this story go? And then it's a mobile game. Yeah, really bummed me out because again, like I said with The Division, I want to play this game, but I don't want to play it on my phone. I'd happily play it as like an expansion, or I'd happily play it as like a short DLC, like they did for Liberation, for Assassin's Creed 3. I think it was Assassin's Creed 3. Yeah, Liberation. Like that was its own side story that to explore and as a different character and a same sort of setting but different time frame. That was interesting. I want to explore more. I don't want to have to explore this new world on my phone. And for me, that's a bummer. And I know there'll be hardcore Assassin's Creed fans out there who won't care and they're happy to play it. But when you said mobile phone, you lost me. And it's a shame. So I'll wait till it comes out, and then I'll probably watch a long walkthrough of it on YouTube, and I'll just get my sort of story and information from there. But Ubisoft, they're really big on pushing mobile games. They're probably the only publisher that actually still is. I can't think of any other publisher who's still trying to push mobile games apart from Activision, and only because they own King, and King is like in $1 billion franchise that just makes and just pumps money basically. And I'm sure that's probably one of the reasons why Xbox bought Activision in the end, because they wanted that King money. Because a lot of money, like there's so much money in mobile gaming, you do not understand. So understand why Ubisoft still does it, but still, it's not for everybody, and it's definitely not for me. So I'm excited for an Assassin's Creed game. I'm just bummed out it's on mobile. Then we got to see a bit more of Assassin's Creed Mirage. We've got a story trailer for that. That's coming in October this year, 2012. I got to see some new gameplay, walkthrough footage. Got to see Basim, how he deals with things. So Basim is not a sort of character who is brutal, shall we say. He's not like Eivor, or he's not like Haytham. He's not somebody who wants to get in or gets his hands dirty and fight. Basim is more of a character who likes the art of assassination, the arts of being an assassin, a hidden one, to be sneak around, to be hidden, to use traps and noisemakers and stuff like that to distract enemies and to either get around them or to assassinate them. Um, I'm interested in this game. I played Assassin's Creed Valhalla. I loved Valhalla. I know it didn't do very well, but I played it all to completion, and I played the expansions as well. Not all the expansions, some of the expansions, and I love Eivor, and I was interested in Basim's character and where the sort of the game ends, and where the sort of final story expansion update that came out, which was the last update for Valhalla, and that sort of gives a lot more sort of end to Eivor's story, but also brings the beginning of Basim's story. And at the end of that update, which might be spoilers for some people, so I do apologize, but basically, Basim meets somebody, and they say to him, "Oh, what we want is some information about you, a memory, certain memory." And Basim basically gives this person a memory fragment, and I would imagine that memory fragment is Basim growing up in Baghdad, becoming a master assassin, and how he got to be how he is, and how he got or found himself in sort of Eivor's story and entwined in that. That's what I can imagine. I'm going to imagine that's where the story is going to lead to. It's going to lead to the fact of Basim when he was younger, to being a master assassin, to finding out how he turned evil or turned rogue, shall we say. So I'm interested to play this game. I really am. So that's going to be a fun one. Then we had a huge showing of Star Wars Outlaws. We got a lot more detail on the game. You play as a thief, and you have to pull one of the greatest heights of all time in the Outer Rim, as well as getting new gameplay footage. I was wrong what I said about the Xbox event. At the Xbox event about this game. Basically, if I'm trying to remember, because it's been sort of a lot's happened since then, I've said something under the lines of it feels very sort of not Ubisofty. It feels very sort of ununique, very much like in the style of Jedi Survivor. And I kept saying that I wanted it to be a Star Wars game, but I want it to feel like Ubisoft. I want it to feel different. I want it to be Star Wars, but be something different. I was wrong in what I said, and I think I unfairly judged it, because this game feels completely different to Jedi Survivor. It feels like a Ubisoft game, but in a good way. It doesn't feel like The Division. It doesn't feel like Assassin's Creed or I've already said Far Cry, didn't I? Or The Division. It feels different. It feels unique. It feels inherently 100% Star Wars, but done by Ubisoft. There are moments in this where it feels like Uncharted at times. The way the cinematics and the loading, like the cinematics and the loading screens sort of merge into one into gameplay. It's so seamless. Um, it looks really, really good. Massive looks like they have done a fantastic job with the game in both gameplay and visuals. Like I said, it's very cinematic, like a movie, and there's freaking space battles. There's you have kind of like No Man's Sky where you can take off on a planet and go up into the atmosphere and out of the atmosphere into space so seamlessly. Like, yes, it's a loading screen. Obviously, it's a loading screen, but it feels seamless. It feels cinematic. There's no sort of cutscene of like, we're now on a planet, now we're in space. It's very much the fact of ship goes up, shoom, you're now in space, and then next thing you know, you're fighting sort of Empire ships, TIE fighters, and it was just wonderful. It looked incredible. It felt incredible. It felt different. It felt unique. It felt next gen Star Wars. Again, I haven't played Jedi Survivor yet. It's on my list. I've got a huge backlog of games to play. But I was wrong about this game. I unfairly judged it. So I will raise my hand and apologise to this game and to its developers that I unfairly judged it. That it is better than I thought it was going to be, and it is unique and it is different. Um, and I'm really sort of excited for it. Sadly, it's not coming till 2024, but I'm fine with that because the game looks gorgeous as it is. It looks wonderful. It's a work in progress, but it looks somewhat done. So give as much time as you need it. Take as much time. Get it done when it's ready, and I'll play it. So if it comes out winter next year, that's fine with me. I've got loads of other games to play until then. I've still got to play Jet Survivor, and I'm sure then most likely because it's Lucasfilm, because it's Disney, they will be books and comics to do with this. So I'll end up having to read them before I play the game, especially if they're set before the game. So I'll have a lot to get through before I get around to playing this game. So I'm excited. Um, and yeah, that is everything. Apart from at the end of the show when they were saying thank you, that they said that you can now get a free trial. I think it's a 7-day free trial of Ubisoft Plus, which is like their version of Game Pass, where you pay a certain price and you get access to all of their games. There's a 7-day free trial now on PC and on Xbox. So if you're on either of those, you can get the 7-day free trial. If you do it smartly and you plan ahead, you most likely, if you get that free trial when a lot of these new games come out, you better play them for free for 7 days without having to actually pay anything. And then before the 7 days are up, just cancel your subscription and just let the 7 days run. It's what I've done many times. I shouldn't admit it, but it's true. We've all done it. So don't judge me. We've all done it. Uh, but yeah, so that's everything that they've shown. Overall, I loved it. I really did. I was happy. I was smiling. It was weird. It was strange. It was, like I said, it was overly 100% Ubisoft just being Europeanly weird, which is not a bad thing. Again, Europe is a very wonderful, weird place. And Ubisoft are very wonderful and weird studios. I would wish they would pull themselves together in terms of some of their games, like Beyond Good and Evil 2, which we haven't seen or heard from since like 2017 and 2018, possibly, maybe a lot further back than that. Apparently, it's still in the works, still coming, but when? But I liked what they showed. Yes, they lost me a bit in certain things, and they did mobile games still, and I understand why they do it because there's a lot of money in it. But again, it's a shame. It has to be like, I don't know why they can't do mobile games, but for like a brand new IP. That way, you can bring people in who like mobile games to a brand new sort of IP, and then leave sort of already existing IP for where they're meant to be. So Division is a console PC game. That's where it should stay. I don't feel like you should branch it off. Unless if you are going to branch it off, make it a small little mini game. Like there was a game called Gears of War Pop or Gears Pop, and the idea was it was Gears of War themed, but it was like a cover shooter in a way where you used to send units out and you send sort of locusts or you send cog out, and you'd have 3 layers of boundaries in front of you, like high wall sort of cover as you do in the game. And the idea is that you've got to get your troops from your bottom of the screen to the top half of the screen while defeating all the enemies that are oncoming. And then when you get there, you can take out the main base. And then if you do that, you win. I played it a few times. I enjoyed it. I downloaded it on my phone because I love Gears of War. Didn't keep it for a long time. This is when I used to play games on my phone, and I was used to experiment with certain apps and that sort of thing. Um, but that would be fine if you did that with a Division or something like that. Like I already know the Assassin's Creed mobile game. My friend used to play it all the time because he was a hardcore Assassin's Creed fan. Um, Never took my fancy, but he seemed to enjoy it. But I distinctly remember that game being very small and different, and not an open world 3D sort of game that you'd get like on the Vita. It was very sort of side scrolly sort of game, and that's fine. That makes sense. But a big 3D sort of game that's going to sort of, especially a game like Division, especially if you're going to have it against player versus player, where you're going to need very quick inputs, you having to drag your fingers across the screen and tap things and fire at the same time. Yeah, I don't see it taking off, but somebody out there might be interested. But I don't want to get into another rant. The point is, overall, I enjoyed what Ubisoft has to show. I'm excited. I'm over the moon. I had fun, you know. So to rank it, I don't know. I think this is my favourite, despite a few small things here or there. It gave me a lot of interesting things. It showed me a lot. It gave me, again, it showed me cinematics. It gave me more details into the games I was interested in, and it showed me the games. It didn't just come out, tell me, then be like, "I'll see you next year." It was like, no, we'll show you cinematic to pull you in. We'll tell you some more details to pull you in a little bit further, and then we'll show you the game to really suck you in and really sort of get you hooked. And that's what they did, and that's what they always do, pretty much every year. So I'd say Ubisoft for me is my favourite one of this Summer Games Fest so far. Currently, as I'm recording this, I think Capcom have got their showcase on. I'm not really big into Capcom games, so I'm going to miss that one. But I'll check the highlights of that afterwards. And yeah, that's basically everything. I can go now and rest for a week. Go around and chill. I can finally get round to playing Lies of P, playing the demo of that, and recording something for you, Beans, for next week. I know I said it will be this week, but I'm so tired that I'm gonna give myself the rest of the week off, and I'll come back strong next week. So that'll be coming next week. The Lies of P demo, first impressions. And yeah, and there's tons more to come. So if you're interested and you like what I've done here, then by all means, follow me on Twitter at nerdstalgic_pod, and you can find the Nerdstalgic podcast anywhere and everywhere, basically, where podcasts are, apart from Apple Podcasts. You can find me on Audible as well. You can find me again on YouTube. So if you listen to on YouTube and you haven't already, don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, and all that jazz. It really helps me out immensely. And if you're listening on Spotify, don't forget to give me a star rating for 1 to 5 stars. Again, that helps me out immensely, so much. And yeah, so I've been your host, Luke the Human. Thank you very, very much for listening to the Nerdstalgic podcast, and I will catch you in the next one. Bye bye.